Hey everyone, welcome to this video. Mark Devo here. I need to slow that down. And welcome to this video on there is only death of the ego. So this will be a short insight, just as things come to us all throughout the day, throughout our lives. This was I found quite a profound insight to share. Hopefully it adds value to people out there. If you're new to this channel, I talk about all things related to awareness. This will be more of a spiritual chat. I do like to bridge spirituality with pragmatism. This will be more spiritual, and I'm sure most of you agree that on this will follow some of my videos and that are very spiritual. The world we live in is a manifestation of the spirit world, and yeah, I'll start segmenting as I grow playlists in spiritual to other pragmatic things, but this is more of a spiritual. I'll keep it short and sweet. It was just a nice short insight that I believe would like to add value to other people's lives out there. So there is only death of the ego. And yeah, most people, all of us, are mostly afraid of death in some way or another. And people that say they're not, they're probably also talking some sort of BS. There's actually a layer deeper that most of us are actually not even afraid of. Well, it's actually not death that we're afraid of. It's actually the grandeur that we share with God, source, infinite creation. But that's another chat altogether. This is more about there is no death but that of the ego. So I just wanted to chat a little bit about the ego and how this can add great value. You've obviously heard of the ego. We've heard of the ego as we've grown up, and that person has such a big ego, but most of us actually don't really understand what the ego is. I'm going to be speaking about the ego in terms of I've mentioned A Course in Miracles before. I'm going to be talking about the ego as it relates to A Course in Miracles, which is a profound book. It's actually a curriculum. It's amazing insights, and it's beyond a book, but you need to look into that yourself. I'm not going to talk about that here, but talks extensively about the ego, and this was just a small insight. So let me jump into it, and hopefully this, like I said, hopefully this adds great value. So most of us are afraid of death, but the only thing to actually be afraid of is the death of the ego. And how you relate that, or how you can understand that, or how you can resolve that is you can only believe in life or death. Life is eternal, you believe in death, that your body just we call them hardy-dars. They are part of the ibis family, if you heard that. It's a bit of a crazy, noisy bird. I love animals, but if I did have a shotgun, anyway, I wouldn't do that. So anyway, back to the ego. It's where was I? I lost my train of thought. So you only believe in you can only believe in one, life or death. Life is eternal, or death is finality. You can't have two thought structures, and you can only believe in God, infinite creation, or nothing. And again, I've spoken briefly about that. You can't really believe in. That's a whole new topic. I'm not even going to go down that road. At the end of the day, what resonates with you? What is your journey? What are you searching for? What are you realizing? What is your awareness that will tell you what resonates with you, life versus death? But anyway, you can only believe in one, or have one or the other. Not even a choice of believing. It's actually there is only one or the other. So how that relates to the ego is death, the illusion of death. The ego is everything. It's a false thought system, as opposed to, and it gives you illusory thoughts. It gives you so with that false thought system, it gives you illusory thoughts. The ego will always try and bolster itself, whether it is making yourself feel better than people, or it can even bolster itself through depression, or making yourself feel little and small, because at the end of the day, the ego is bolstering itself. So when you're feeling depressed or little or small or inferior, that ego is still bolstering itself. It's still egocentric. It's still focused around itself. Equally as if you bolster yourself, I'm better than everyone else. So that's the ego. This is a very nutshell. The ego is a false thought system, and that is separation, and that is death. So that's that system, and then you've got the system of source, creation, God, infinite creation. So it's only if you have those two opposed and not opposed, God gives rise to, God is everything, infinite creation is everything, but you have either truth or illusion. Illusion is the ego, the falsity, the separation, whereas the truth, God, infinite creation is one source. Everything is connected. So I hope that it does make sense. And it does make me actually think of, I don't know if anyone has read The Law of One, but anything that I talk about, anything that anyone talks about is a distortion. But one thing that you cannot, I believe, that you cannot kind of argue with, and this comes from A Law of One, which is quite a profound book as well, is unity, that everything is one. Beyond that, everything is a distortion. So whatever people are saying is a perception, is a distortion. Besides that, everything is one. That is one, probably one solid truth. Everything is one. But again, do you know this? Do you believe this? That is another discussion altogether. So just going back to the thought system of the ego versus source creation, infinite intelligence, there is only death of the ego. So with everything I've just said as the backdrop, if you are fearing death, you are only, or annihilation, it's only the egoic side. It's only that thought system, because if you know yourself to be part of source, creation, infinite intelligence, eternity, you know that that life is eternity. Life is ongoing. Death is not the end of life. Life is. Death is the egoic thought system, and it's a very powerful thought system. And if you're not aware of that thought system, then you get seduced and you get dictated by that thought system. It's everything fear, separation, death, etc. So just wanted to leave it there. I thought it was quite a profound insight there. Going back to everything as one, it does make me think of that quote from the Bible. I think it was John, I and my Father are one. So you share that oneness with God. God's thought system, as opposed to the ego, which is false, which is fear, which is illusory, which is separation. So there is only the death of the ego, which will try and fight its way through various measures. But all you need to do is become aware of those fearful thoughts, aware of all of those things, not to resist or fight that, because it just strengthens it. But again, there's only a death of the ego. So I hope that adds value. There is only source, creation, life, eternity, everything you have ever wanted for, wished for, known to be true is that, if that makes sense. So I hope that makes sense, and let me know your thoughts, comments, experiences. If you want to hear more about the ego, I'd love to talk a little bit more about it. So drop some thoughts and comments, and we'll go from there. If you do like this and it adds great value, like, share, subscribe. It all helps, puts value out into the world, and we'll see you on the next one. Ciao, guys.